I hope, yeah, this can be informal. If you have questions or anything along the way, just shout them out, and I'm happy to answer those. But JC had contacted me, and so I'm just going to kind of tell you a little bit about my journey to be a dietitian and what I'm doing now. I've been a dietitian for about a little over 3 years now, and I've been a personal trainer for about a little over 6. So like Amber said, or maybe I shouldn't say, I don't know. Anyway, I recently started my own business, so I'll tell you a little bit more about that here at the end. But I did graduate from K-State, and I did the Dietetic program. For my internship, I went to I got accepted into the University of Oklahoma Health Sciences Center one. So I was in Oklahoma City for about 2 months, and then I was in Muskogee, Oklahoma for the rest of the time. So I don't know how many of you are doing Dietetic. Cool. I'll tell you a little bit about my rotations. I don't know if you're that interested, but I chose the one, or was hoping I would get the one in Oklahoma because it was a little bit more community-based, and that's what I was interested in a little bit more. So for the community rotations, I did everything from working at the health department for a few weeks and doing a lot of things with a diabetes group there. I also did a lot of public policy there at the health department. I worked at a turtle camp. I'm not sure why it was called that. I was thinking about that when I was preparing this, but it was a camp for kids that were about 12 or under. We did a lot of physical activity and health games. We learned a lot about nutrition. We played Jeopardy with them with health or nutrition type questions. And we did food demonstrations and things like that with them. I worked with a lactation consultant for a week, which was very interesting. I worked at an Indian clinic, a WIC office, where I got to do some of the education for the moms and learn a lot about the WIC program. I did, probably one of the most difficult ones I did in rotations I did was the dialysis center. As you probably know, as you've learned in clinical, dialysis and renal diets are pretty difficult. So yeah, that was a big learning experience for me. And then I also did outpatient and weight loss programs. Then I actually got to do both my management and my clinical at the same place. I was at a VA hospital in Muskogee. So for clinical, yeah, I got to just really learn their charting system, their screening, their assessment. It's like you've done in your class. Every hospital or every place kind of has them a little bit different, so you always have to kind of get used to those a little bit. They had, I got to work in a rehab wing they had, and as well as a psych ward that was actually on lockdown, which was pretty interesting. I got to teach classes in the psych ward, so yeah, that was a little intimidating for sure, but it was fun. Yeah, and then worked with the other dietitians there and just kind of learned how to work as a team with the dietitians, how, as well as the physical therapists and occupational therapists, the doctors and the nurses and stuff. So, and then my management rotation, I just moved down to the kitchen in the same VA hospital and did, your purchasing, receiving, a lot of quality improvement type things. I did a lot of, I guess my main project there was we had a Christmas employee Christmas meal that was pretty much on my plate. So it was for about 1,000 people. So it was a pretty big project, but I definitely learned a lot in that. So I guess I feel like for me, I don't know if any of you feel like this, but I know when I graduated, I was like, I don't know if I can be a dietitian. I don't think I know enough. I don't know how to practically put it. I felt like a lot came together in my internship. A lot of things finally clicked, and I was like, oh, that's why we learned about that, or oh, that makes sense. So yeah. But then after my internship, I took the exam I think it took about 6 weeks to get my papers back. And then I ended up getting a job at Mercy Regional Health Center, where I met Amber. She actually did some of my training, so that was really fun to kind of get to know her, and yeah, she was really good at that. So yeah, so at Mercy, I was hired as a clinical dietitian, so I did a lot with the patients. The doctors, the dietitians before me have worked really hard to build rapport with the physicians, and so we did a lot one thing that was different that versus what I did in Muskogee at my internship was the enteral and parenteral nutrition. The doctors pretty much took our recommendations, so it was a lot more on our plate than it was at the VA. The doctors pretty much took care of it, whereas here it was, so that was kind of scary for me at first because I was like, that's kind of a big deal. So, but definitely learned a lot about that. Taught different classes there and was on the palliative care team and different things like that. So, yeah, working in the hospital was great and definitely learned a lot. Learned a lot about different diseases that I didn't really know much about or hadn't studied, and kind of had to since you had patients with it. So that was really good, but I found out that wasn't really my passion for dietetics, and I wasn't really getting to use the exercise side of things. But being a personal trainer, like I had kept it up, but I hadn't been able to use it. So when I was kind of presented the opportunity, I decided to start my own business. Kind of crazy, even still now thinking about it, because that was just, okay, I launched in January, so it hasn't been too long. So I still feel like I'm learning a lot. I think I'll be saying that for the next few years. But yeah, I really love working with people one-on-one and kind of helping them like find realistic and smaller changes that they can make in their everyday lifestyles so that they can create the bigger changes that they want. Really just enjoy working with anybody and everybody. I have clients who are already in really good shape, already eat really healthy, pretty much know everything, but they just have like little specific things they want to work on, or they don't know certain things. So I'm working with them. I have people who haven't exercised in 10 years and pretty much eat out or eat processed foods every meal. So, I mean, I have the wide gamut of people, but it's fun to just like really work with them wherever they're at and, help make it realistic for them. So my main focus with my business is I'm really focusing on whole foods and ones that aren't filled with artificial colors or preservatives or chemicals or things like that, because the more and more research I've done, I think that those can be harmful for the body, and that I've kind of come to the conclusion that there are a lot of foods that are edible, but not all those foods are nourishing. And food is meant to be enjoyed, and but even more importantly, it's supposed to give you the nutrients that you need for your body to function properly. So, yeah, I think a majority of the illnesses and conditions that we see today, that nutrition is a huge part of them, and that can impact a majority of them. Maybe not every single one, but a good majority for sure. So I named my business Grace Goals and Guts. Grace, to kind of recognize that, wherever people are starting, that's okay. Like, I work with people that feel like they're so far behind the curve that they're like, I'm never going to get anywhere. So it's like, it's okay. Give yourself some grace, be generous with yourself along the journey of changing habits. You all know that, sometimes you take a step backward, or sometimes you overindulge in a potluck, or you don't exercise for a week. That just happens. And so instead of like beating yourself up for it, or beating yourself up because of it, and then feeling like a failure and oftentimes like giving up, then you just learn to give yourself grace, be generous with yourself, and move forward. That's where the grace comes from. Goals obviously help you kind of narrow down where you want to go. Setting goals is important I like to work with people in setting both long-term and short-term goals. I like to set even weekly goals. It could be something as simple as drinking enough water each day or something. But building off of those small goals and like celebrating those, really, I found that really helps people like give them confidence and motivation to change the bigger things. And so, and then last but not least, guts. Obviously, no change is easy, and so that takes guts. It takes hard work. So people have to be willing to put some of that in. So Grace Goals and Guts is the name of my business. But really, I just love working with people, helping them understand that health doesn't mean you have to spend your life in the kitchen. It doesn't mean you have to spend a fortune on food. It doesn't mean you have to spend hours at the gym to be healthy. Like, there are simple things that can make like a huge impact in your everyday life. And so helping people find those and realize what those may be for them. And just helping people understand that I've done some studying on like changing habits, and that's kind of what my whole business is around, is really helping people change their lifestyle habits. Like I'm not going to give you a quick fix, but it's going to be a lifestyle thing. And really working with people and helping them understand that it's not all about willpower. Like I think that gets overplayed sometimes, that, well, if I just have enough willpower, then I wouldn't be overweight, or could stop eating, or could exercise more. But there's a lot of internal and external influences and factors that play into that. So really helping people understand that and find what those are for them, and how they can like plan around them, or adjust their plan when things don't go right. So yeah, really just helping people build healthier habits. I do both in-home consults for people who are here in Manhattan. I also do online consults for people who aren't in Manhattan. I have several clients in Kansas City or Western Kansas that I meet with. I kind of have my packages set up with with building healthy habits in mind. I mean, I'll meet with people once or twice if that's all they want, but in general, most of my packages I have like, we're gonna meet like 4 times. So it would be like a month's worth usually if we meet once a week or something like that. Just because if you're wanting to build a habit or change a habit, unless you're extremely motivated, which you probably don't need me in the first place, then meeting with you once isn't going to do a lot. But I'm still willing to do that if that's what people want. So, and then I do both, and then I do personal training, and I can do that either with nutrition or just on this, if you just want the training too, I do that for people. I have one client who the only space in her house that she has to do training is a wide hallway, so it's a hallway that's about from here to there, so we train in that. So it's interesting, but it works. So, and then I do work with people too if they want to do like a buddy training, like if couples want to train together or something like that, I do that too. Yeah, starting my own business has been a huge learning curve. It's like definitely a scary thing for me. I pretty much got shoved into it, so I'm very thankful for it. I love it. It's just from everything from learning even what to set my business up as LLC, learning about all the taxes and financial side of things, how to track clients, how to do that, how to do a website. I wanted to be able to do my own website so I can change it when I want and add it, because there's lots of things I want to add, so I didn't want to have to, I wanted to be able to do that myself. So learning that, learning the marketing side of things. Yeah, it's been a whirlwind for sure, but I do definitely love what I do, and I love being my own boss. They're definitely, it's really nice to make my own schedule, but since I work from home a majority of the time, it's also more difficult, but still really important to be able to separate home time from work time, if that makes sense. So that's been a challenge too, just figuring that out, even a challenge going from working with people all day long, every day, to working at home. So there's been lots of different changes, lots of challenges, and like I said, I think I'll be working through learning lots of new things for the next several years. So, but yeah,